Hey, I'm Pat B.
And I'm Adam Willis.
And I'm just Johnny.
And this is the Geek Down on WEMF Radio.
Leaping forward bionically.
There it is. You were a little late on the cue, my man. What's going on? All right, no, what's talking? I need you to hurry over there. Just giving him the business, giving him a little rib, just getting in the ass, my friend. Sorry.
Get your hands off me.
Maintain. All right, I got to find the zone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Geek Down. I am Pat B. To the side of me, I looked at my man. Dude, you got the M&M. The bunny rabbit hoodie going on.
And I got spaghetti all over my chest. Yeah,
ready for some static. Black Adam Willis.
Yes, sir. How we doing, Patrice? You're looking well, my friend, as always. I like the sweater.
Oh, thank you very much. To those of you that are watching us, hopefully on twitch.tv/the Geek Down, you can see I'm wearing my very stylish winter sweater. Long neck, so I get that extra protection from the wind outside.
Yes, it is chilly outside.
Yeah, Boston is officially in winter time.
Mm-hmm.
It's frosty outside, so hopefully you're all there with your warm cocoa curled up by your radio or your computers. Or
It's going to be an awful winter. I know it is.
I don't know.
I'm feeling it. I'm just like, it's going to be one of those winters that's going to last like an extra 2 months past when it should have stopped.
You got to be less of a pessimist, my man. We are going to go out. By Thursday, I predict, record highs in temperature. Okay, it'll be the sunniest Christmas season.
85 and you're wearing hot pants.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. Yeah.
It'll be a beachside Hanukkah this year. That's what's going on. All right, let's, of course, not forget the man over there looking very diligent as always, just Johnny.
Yo.
This guy. Okay, now, first of all, before the show, we had a little conversation before I started giving Herb a little harassment there. It's okay. That's how he gets jumped into the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, I got to remind you, man, salt is not a major food group. All right, you gotta adjust
That's not
that
at the
diet
basis. It's just like bread, water, salt.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was like yellow, white. Red.
Entire countries have fought wars over the control of salt.
Yeah,
salt
but that's
very important.
That's before refrigeration, when you've never seen a higher nationwide popularity of beef jerky.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and
everyone was all about that.
I need to put a little bit on my SpaghettiOs every day, or I would go to war.
And people have lived perfectly healthy, consuming like 10 grams of salt or more a day. Which
they also died at 9 years old. Okay.
Back when the leading cause of death was puberty.
The eldest anyone has ever
childbirth.
lived.
Oh, she must be passing 5 years old. Are you sure she's gonna make it? All right. Okay. Sun-dried tomatoes reaching the cost of of diamonds by the Beers company.
Yes.
What is De Beers brand cranberries? De Beers brand
went to Jared
De Beers and
for
Ocean Spray.
Yeah, don't come to us for diet advice.
No, not at all, not at all. This man trying to sell me on all types of
consisting off gummy worms
diets.
and Coronas for years. I'm fine.
He's like, no, Pat, what you got to do is you gotta incorporate a lot of aloe into your diet. Like, you mean put on lotion? No, you got to eat aloe. But I don't see the nutritional value. Trust me.
Eat all the plants in your house.
Yeah, seriously. Johnny's just a wild man trying experimental things, and he will be missed.
Yep.
All right, now we have an action-packed, fun-filled show for you, dude. We have reviews out the wazoo, man. I got to check out a classic comic. A classic story now in comic form. I was a big fan of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo books. And then they came out with movies in Sweden. They were great. And they came out with a movie in America.
Version of the first one,
yes,
which was decent.
I wouldn't say that. And now it's returned in graphic novel form. So we have the inside stuff on that for you coming up a little later. Johnny got to check out the weirdest, and I mean, this is that's saying a lot coming from a Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a Japanese game.
It's. I believe it's Western made. I believe the person
Western made.
Yeah, made by
weeaboos
a couple
galore.
of people in America, but they are hardcore waifu, not waifu.
No, they're hardcore waifu.
Kawaii. There's so many terms. They're hardcore.
You want to say they're kawaii little weeaboos?
Yes.
I mean, that means they're cute little cherub people.
Sure.
You lost me.
I didn't make this.
They are hardcore anime fans.
All right. Well, the game is Doki Doki Literature Club. We have the lowdown on that, and I mean, I don't want to say it's gonna blow your mind, but change your pants, dude. I am really excited about what's up finally on the roster. The Shape of Water is a movie that Guillermo del Toro has been talking about for a while.
Yep.
And I got
finally
to check this
checked
out.
it out.
I was there, and I was so damned impressed.
And this stars one of my favorite actors too, Michael Shannon. So I'm really excited to hear a review for it.
Yep, and also they found a way to take a woman having sex with fish, well, with a fish, and make it like sexy and artsy. But there's
Yeah, there
no
was
no
that
mistake
movie,
about it. She is getting down.
Yeah.
Like this is like the softcore porn version of Splash with Daryl Hannah
Well, there's this
and Tom Hanks.
independent movie, Uncle Boone Me Can Recall His Past Lives, and it's I think it was Tibetan, where they believe in reincarnation, and she sees like her past lover in fish form. He's reincarnated as a fish, but there's like a sex scene with her and this fish, where the fish is just basically inside her flapping around, and it's a weirdly messed up thing. But it's like, I guess if you believe in that, you're like, oh, that's romantic.
If you believe
in reincarnation,
people are coming back from the dead to
fornicate with other things, yes.
Fornicate with fish,
Yeah.
Fornicate with a flounder.
Either that, or it's a really, really, really compelling and smart fish that can.
I find it hard to believe a movie is compelling and smart when she looks over there and it's Swamp Thing with the tentacle dangling, just hanging.
You've been watching too much anime, buddy.
Man, okay, no, let's talk about Doki Doki. No, and also I'm gonna start off though. I'm gonna get right into it, dive right in the meat, but not before I introduce our man who keeps it sounding crisp, delicious, and amazing every week, DJ Herbie Herb. This guy. You never see him,
I guess.
You never see him on camera, but I promise you he exists. All right, now, like I said earlier, you can watch us on twitch.tv/The Geek Down, but also for those of you watching on Twitch, if you just want to catch the audio at any point, you can't catch the show right there, you can always pick up the archive version in audio form at WEMFradio.com. And you search The Geek Down with the first ones that come up. But also, your options are SoundCloud. Your options are iTunes. You can catch the archive, the records on Twitch itself. Or you can go to geek-down.com. So I usually give those out at the end of the show. I figured maybe I should switch that up. But, dude, we are out there all in your face. If you're on Facebook, like us, subscribe to us, follow us, all that good stuff. Twitter. FansFM. Yeah, we are on FansFM, believe it or not. And Instagram. So, dude, we out there.
Yeah, and you don't ever hear or see Herb, do you? He's like the Rod Roddy of the Geek Down.
You know what I think? No, think of like the asylum we have here. Herb is like a nanny that would come in occasionally and check on Muppet Babies and why they trashed the other playroom.
You just see like the shins.
Yeah, yeah. Herb.
Hey, legs.
Herb, you are our Skunky Beaumont, man. How you feel?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's the very own Geek Down Bob Sacramento. All right, now we love you, guy. All right, now I'm going to talk about The Swindlers real quick. This is a Korean film that you can find if you have a local indie theater. It's playing now in America. It's actually been playing worldwide for a while. We got it a few months late, so the original run...
Which usually happens, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that means you'll find people that can, will have been raving about it and can corroborate that this did not suck. And my own review right now is, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, a thumbs up. This did not suck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was weird because I've seen movies with like a twist and a couple of twists and several twists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, freaking The Usual Suspects blows your mind.
Right.
You know, one of the greatest twist movies ever. And I'm not even going to throw M. Night Shyamalan in there. We'll talk about like legitimate twists. This dude had one big hit, and then everything else, they're in cornfield and elevators. This is The Swindlers starring, and I've never heard of any of these actors. I've never seen them, but I feel like that might be because I'm an ignorant American, and I feel bad for saying that. But, I mean, come on, seriously. But they gave great performances. I'm pretty sure that they've got some kind of clout elsewhere. But Hyun Bin, Nana, Yoo Tae-jae, Park Sung-woo, and An Si-ha. These are the cats that star. Oh, I'm sorry, and I can't forget Bae Seong-woo, who played more of like he's like the half times he's the tough guy, half times he's the comedy foil tough guy.
I gotcha.
You know, so it's like if you have that guy that constantly getting the shoelaces tied together,
like the dumb jock kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it comes time, like when stuff goes down, he's the one you want in your corner because he's stinging folks up.
I gotcha.
He's gonna snatch the gun away from the guy and then smack him in the head with it. Stop hitting yourself. That is. But the movie's called The Swindlers. It's basically the story of con men conning other con men, while other con men who are conning them work for the police and trying to con them or trying to catch them in a con via a con. Meanwhile, everyone's after this legendary con man who may or may not be conning them all.
It's like the movie Confidence.
No, it's nothing like that.
No.
Dustin Hoffman was in there.
He was in there.
Being a jackass, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But The Swindlers is about one con man who's trying to run a con, and then when he thinks he's got a patsy, it turns out that he was being conned by another con man who was using him in this huge chess game type thing.
Yes, it sounds like a movie that lends itself to many twists and cons as a film.
But the way they do them is, it's clever.
Okay.
I thought this would be like, no, we're setting things up because they're convenient. And I'm not saying it's above that, because it does get that way towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
They start using things where it's like, no, there's no real way, even if you're the most clever criminal, to foreshadow this many steps ahead, because you would have to predict human behavior. You would have to predict traffic patterns. You would have to predict the changing of the weather. And I mean, not just like meteorological forecasts, but know exactly what's going to happen when. Like, let's keep things within some level of realism.
Right.
Because I was enjoying the story until I started saying, what? Man, until I started making that noise.
You don't want to be that person sitting on the couch next to somebody who's enjoying it and be like, that would never happen.
Yeah, seriously.
No one likes that guy, by the way.
That's not how weather balloons work. They could never do that.
She would never say that right there.
Yeah. That house wouldn't lift with all those balloons. That old man's just gonna fall and kill that little boy.
Why do you even bother anything after his wife died?
Yeah. Dogs aren't really that amazed by squirrels. Anytime he says that, he probably just wants to pee.
Yeah, it's an up reference show, by the way.
Okay, so try not to take yourself out of the movie, because the performances were great. At no point did I feel like I'm watching people acting, and I normally get that sense when I'm watching things from overseas, because I'm less aware of the dialogue until I'm less invested in the story. I'm just reading the words on the screen. If it's subtitled, I'm reading the script. And I'm more able to see, well, this person's not acting like they really would in this situation according to what the words say, because I'm not getting the full feel of the performance. So I'm noticing more they were reaching for this. They're really trying to find their blocking in the background of the scene, etc., etc. So I'm looking for that because I'm an a-hole. But I didn't get that in this picture, man. And I love a good con movie. Yes, you know this.
I do.
You all love a good con movie.
Yeah, who doesn't?
And the way this one plays out is, I love when you have your heroes. Well, I mean, everyone's a bad guy because they're all con men. They're all the swindlers being swindled and swindling.
Just one's more likable than the other.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you.
The more likable protagonist con people here, because it's not all dudes. They enact a plan that is set up beautifully. Like, I love a movie where, you see someone fail, and oh man, I guess they took a hit. How are they going to recover from this? And you find out maybe that was part of the plan.
Right.
Or it looks like they've gotten over on the bad guy. This happened really easily. I guess he wasn't that formidable. Oh wait, no, he owns this building or whatever, and now all the maids are his people. All the children in the daycare are actually dwarfs that work for him. Stuff like that. So it had like every one of those twists you can imagine. That blows my mind. Because there was at least like 5 twists. And you think you're following the plan, and then you think, oh, well, I'm following the plan. But from what I know from previous con stories and detective stories, this is probably about where a big twist would happen. And it's like, no, that's just something that went wrong. And they improvised and then found another way to succeed. Or they tried to improvise here and they failed, but then later on they'll work back to that.
Back to it, sure, yeah.
It's one that didn't seem as predictable. It seemed as predictable as you'd expect it to be, but just if you have experience in these things, and it still threw me for a loop. Yeah, the movie's called The Swindlers. It's available in indie theaters right now. I believe you can find. I guess maybe not. So you have to go to an indie theater right now. There's no general release slated, so it's not going to be on Netflix, at least not right away. But it's still playing in theaters. If you're seeing this shortly. Around the time of release, I highly recommend it. It's a thumbs up. It's called The Swindlers. It's a Korean movie you can find at your local indie theater, possibly at your local AMC. It did have limited major theater run.
That's funny, because I do always think of the movie Confidence when I think of con movies.
It's just in the name, man.
It's just in the name, but it also has Paul Giamatti in it. It has Luis Guzman in it. Yeah, Luis Guzman lives in the town.
Really? I don't remember him.
Yeah, he plays one of the cops.
Damn.
So he lives in the town next to mine in Vermont.
Really?
The one time I actually saw him at the county fair. This is a true story. I saw him at the county fair, and I run up to him. I said, man, I really loved you in Confidence. Out of anything I could have picked, out of any movie, I could have picked Boogie Nights. I could have picked Traffic. I could have picked anything else. Yeah. Carlito's Way.
Chico Mendes story.
All this. Anything. I said Confidence because that was the last movie I had watched.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And how did he respond? He's like,
thank you.
Thank you. I'm in the outhouse. Go away.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, thank you. Walks off.
We have a question on Twitch.
Yeah,
what is the name of the girl on the left? And I have an image up, but it looks like it's the only girl on the image.
Oh, is she in the cast of The Swindlers?
The Swindlers, yeah.
Oh, sure. She is Nana. Just Nana. One word. Nana. Yep. I was kind of taken aback by that too because I think she might be a singer. Her acting was good. She plays a couple of different types of roles. It's kind of like a Scarlet Lady J, G.I. Joe, CoverGirl type character where she's playing different roles, but she's always like the token female. You know, so they need someone to play the victim over here. They need someone to play like the temptress here. They need someone to play like the big boss lady here. And she covered all those, which was a good range of acting. I really dug that. You know? All right, no, sorry, we got off on a tear on Luis Guzman. All I will say before we move on, no, because seriously, he's a very underappreciated actor.
He's the man, by the way. He's in so many good things.
Herb, do you know Luis Guzman? Damn.
He's the Puerto Rican guy from most things, yeah.
That's how you know him. He's the Puerto Rican guy. You know he's Puerto Rican. Actually, no, that's not. You can't say that because that dude Hector is also the Latin dude in everything.
That's true.
Yeah. He was
he plays Hector.
He plays
everything.
Hector. His name is Hector in everything. Yeah. Fast and the Furious, he was Hector. Training
Luis
Day,
Guzman
he was Hector.
Is a very well-known character actor in
yes.
some very, very big movies, and he's been doing it forever. And he's the
remember,
club owner from Boogie Nights, basically.
Yes.
Who was he in Carlito's Way?
He was the friend of Pacino.
Oh, the one that gets shot at the train
his
station?
name.
I'm sorry, I gotta look out for my future. And he's like,
have you seen the movie Waiting with Justin Long?
Yeah, I know that guy. That guy rules.
The brain! It's the brain!
Yeah,
that guy.
That's him.
That guy.
Dude.
One of my favorite Christmas movies, too, if you're interested in a Christmas movie, is, what is it? It's Nothing Like the Holidays, I believe. Luis Guzman is in it.
I've never seen that.
Yes, Alfred Molina is in it. Your girl from...
which one?
What's the TV show?
I got so many girls in it.
The girl what's on the TV show that you like a lot? That just came back.
The Americans. Oh, just came back. Walking Dead just left. Okay, American live action we're talking about. She doesn't do a voice, right?
Right.
Okay. The Americans.
Gay couple.
Will and Grace?
Yes.
Oh.
Who plays Grace? She's in it.
Okay. I was gonna say Megan Mullally. She's big.
No. The other one.
Oh, why am I blanking? I've said her name a million times. I know the face exactly who you're talking about. Deborah Messing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe she's in it. Yeah.
You know what's messed up? Deborah Messing was she was gorgeous. I had a thing for really skinny girls in high school apparently because Jane Leaves from Frasier, Deborah Messing from Will and Grace.
I was gonna say Laura Flynn Boyle from Twin Peaks.
Okay, not that skinny. No, you know what? That's a sad state of affairs, man. Because I remember her in Wayne's World.
Yes.
And she was dope. I'm like, why is this dude avoiding this 10 plus coming chasing you? Then I realized she's buying him gun racks and stuff, stalking. Yeah. Wow, we've gotten so far. House of Buggin', that's where I remember Luis Guzman from.
So many good movies though.
That wasn't a movie. House of Buggin' was a John Leguizamo had a short-lived sketch show coming off the popularity of In Living Color on Fox. John Leguizamo had this sketch show where all the skits, this is at least 15 years
was done by him, yeah.
They were all done by him, but they were all about racial stereotypes.
He's one of the most underrated artists, I think, of the last however long. I'm not going to give it a year. Luis Guzman is the man. He's done so many one-man shows, too. He's doing one right now that's currently on Broadway called Latin History for Morons. I heard it's I heard it's brilliant, but he's, sexaholic. Is hilarious. It's a one-man show.
I can't fault him for that. If I looked the way he did, I'd relish every piece that I got.
But it's a one-man show, about his troubles. It's so funny.
His sexaholic show was one man.
I
don't want to hear what kind of sex is. Yeah, there's some wrong avenues that show gonna take.
But seriously, since '93 when he's in Super Mario Brothers, he's done so much good work after that.
Wait. Are we talking about Luis Guzman or John Leguizamo?
I'm talking about John Leguizamo now.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying he's super underappreciated.
He is too. He's coming to his own as a as a dramatic actor.
Yeah.
As a dramatic actor and an action star. Or maybe not star. I haven't seen him star in anything, but he's been in
been in John Wick as the car guy.
He was in John Wick as the car guy. John Wick and John Wick 2.
He's in Bloodline, that show Bloodline, which is I guess pretty good.
But that movie that everyone laughs at, I saw
The
when
Pest.
Okay, stop that.
Everyone knows him from the Pest.
No, it's a movie
Spawn,
it's a movie that everyone says is terrible. I saw it when I was younger. It was a great cast. Joe Morton, Steven Seagal, Kurt Russell, Halle Berry. Executive Decision.
Oh,
he was in Executive Decision.
Right.
And I think that was the first time I saw him in a role that wasn't comedy. And I'm like, this dude isn't any kind of action.
He can do it all, man. He's great.
Yeah, he's got that slightly slurred speech that for some reason can translate to anything.
Like he adds too many S's to everything he says, but not in a lisp way.
No, it's like he's got that saliva he didn't swallow before the tape before the director said action, and he's just got to deal with the stuff. Anytime he says your son's your it's like he's like he's the son of Sam. We're just taking him out to the cops. Son of Sam.
He wasn't Son of Sam. Yeah,
he wasn't Son of Sam. All right, so Luis Guzman, John Leguizamo, we salute you. Apparently. Okay, I'm gonna kick it over to my man, Just Johnny.
Yeah.
You, my man, got to check out the game that has been blowing up the internet.
Oh yeah, blowing it way up there.
Yeah, blowing right up it.
Yeah,
blowing right up the internet, right up the backside and through the. Yep.
It's like a Trojan horse of a game, and that's probably a really good analogy.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
I see what you did there. Clever girl.
So the game is called Doki Doki Literature Club, and I'm just gonna read off some of the genres that this game covers: psychological horror, visual novel. Now it presents itself first and foremost as a visual novel, and psychological horror and visual novel are the two most prominent genres that this game sort of tells you right up front. It's in anime. The artwork will tell you that. It's very much anime all over the place. It's cute. It's indie. It's story rich. It's dark, romance, horror, dating sim.
And also
and then some other stuff like gore, violent,
101
sexual
PC
content.
repair class.
What was that?
101's PC repair class. Programming for dummies.
Actually, you're not far.
And a minor specialization in did you unplug it and plug it in? Did you turn it off and turn it on again?
Yeah, I don't want to get into any kind of spoilery things.
Sorry, was
here.
that? I don't think that was. That's just.
But so this is. It plays itself and it presents itself as a anime-based dating simulation game where you're going through and a visual novel. So there is a story that's happening, and you're clicking through each of the text bubbles that are occurring, and you're making decisions at certain points during the story as it's being presented to you, and your decisions are going to change the outcome of the story. Now, a good deal of your decision-making and influencing of the story is, and this kind of ties into the name of the game, Doki Doki Literature Club. You are, as the main character, you are brought into and kind of forced to join a high school literature club with your old friend and her three other members of the literature club. So, as playing as this guy, you are immediately like, yeah, sign me up. There are 4 cute girls in this literature club.
It's like, I don't want to read any books and, everyone else is hot chicks? Well, maybe I can find the time.
So, and that's sort of the star of the story, is presenting it in that way. And then as you're going through, they sort of decide, every day, in between days, we're gonna go home. We're gonna write poems and present it to each other, and so that we can sort of, as an icebreaker, for everyone to get to know each other a little bit more and to get a little bit more comfortable with one another.
Yeah,
so,
I know. I like to go home, get my Cavassier, get a little comfortable, and then write a poem.
Yeah. So at the end of each day, you are piecing together words that you think are going to appeal to whichever of these girls that you are eyeing, like whichever one catches your fancy. You're gonna sort of try to pick the words that you think are gonna appeal to her the most. That way you can gain favor with that particular girl.
So what Johnny's trying to say is, every day you come up with a plan to chicken hawk these poor ladies, and then you're gonna pick them off one by one until they've all succumbed to your will.
Right, and as you're doing that, and you come back the next day and you present your poems, and you're sort of that is a major part of the decision making, is as you're piecing together your poem, that very next day is going to be shaped, and what happens that next day is going to be shaped by the words you select and the poem that you present.
Yep. So what happens is you line them all up, and then you present one with a rose.
Yeah. No.
I can see it.
The main character is not quite that suave, but it definitely gets to the
point. Tell me more about Precious Turtle Dove.
It definitely gets to the point where these girls are they're almost competing with one another to sort of gain your attention.
Hey now.
And that's maybe like the first third of the story.
Oh wow, it happens right away. Johnny, you playboy.
It's a short, but not short. It's about a 5-hour-long game to go through, and the
5 hours. Damn, that's just the credits of like a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, the first third of it is fairly innocent, but then the psychological horror elements of this game really pick up, and because you know it's there, because when you downloaded the game, and the game knows this, because it presented it as this, so it presents itself as a psychological horror. Also because you just told them it's a psychological horror. And it tells the user, right? Because when they're perusing it, it's, you know, a visual novel, psychological horror. So, you know, so you're thinking in the back of your mind, like, when's this psychological horror element's going to come in? And as you're going through the story, they really do, like, a nice job of, like adding it in there, subtly making cues and nods and winks, like, really it's covert. Coming, it's coming. Yeah, it's pretty covert. I'm glad they did that ahead of time. Then I would hate to imagine like a parent would buy this for their kid, thinking it's just like a, you know, I got them a fun game to play after school and such. You know?
It's like when parents bought the Eminem album or something like that. Hey, he's white. He's fine. Yeah. Oh my God!
Here you go, kids. Just a nice, friendly game with some Japanese people on there, and they're at like this Chuck E. Cheese place. What could possibly go wrong with Five Nights at Freddy's?
And so all of this is sort of backed up with some surprisingly, and I mean very, very surprisingly, exceptional writing. There's some of the best video game writing I have read in this game. Definitely all year. I've never read or been presented a story of characters. Now, the story is not overly complex.
That's a tall claim, because I mean, we're in the age where games aren't just you know, really crappy stories slapped together with some pixels. Like, there's been a lot of like good game writing where that actually means something now. You're saying
what constitutes good game writing?
Well, the story has to play out. No, the story has to play out in a logical way. Well, the story, Adam, has to play out in a logical way where the gameplay still factors in, but it's not all about the self-suck of the director after they maybe had one hit in the past, Metal Gear, that really ties into the gameplay itself, but still keeps a good pace, so people are both entertained and intrigued by the outcome, and they get invested in the characters. Also, what they can do is when they want to play further, they can make DLCs that continue the story that will add to questions the player may have had as they would go on and exist in this world, and want to expand and get closure for these characters, maybe solid outcomes.
I'll say what doesn't make good video game story is whenever the dialogue gets super tropey, where they say, you know, you and I are one and the same. You know,
yeah, if it's hammy, and it's blatant. You always pick up on that. It's never like as subtle as you think it might be.
It's the same type of writing, and you see this in all the AAA games and all the big games. It's the same dialogue, the same writing being presented for you. It's the same kind of one-liners over and over and over again. It makes me sick every single time I play a game that has that. And sometimes I'm playing a game.
What are you doing here? I'm gonna get you.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm playing a game where I'm not expecting that type of thing to happen, and then it does happen, and I immediately just take it down a few notches, just because it kind of ruins the experience, because they're just doing what movies do. It's just they're writing it in, they're sort of or calling it in as far as like creative dialogue. This, not the case. It's all about the dialogue. It's all about the characters, and it's all about the clues, the very subtle presentation of clues, and oddly enough, a little bit of what's the word?
Je ne sais quoi.
Like a
savoir-faire.
Kind of like a philosophical sort of way of thinking, where it's sort of making you come to the realization that thinking of a response to a pretty messed up situation is not, and what you would think would be a good reaction, a good way to respond to a certain situation. Actually, no, it's not that good of a response. It's actually a messed up way of thinking that's a good response.
So you're supposed to tell the police, nah, man, that asshole owed me money.
It's worse than that. It's sort of like, it makes you think.
It's my response to it.
It makes you think that.
Nah, man, she promised me some penis.
It makes you think that, okay, this is going on with this particular character, and this is how your main character is dealing with it, and you're thinking like, yeah, that is a good way to deal with that type of thing. That you're thinking like, yeah, this is good, and then all of a sudden, like an hour later, all of a sudden the story sort of
Shift.
through changes. It turns it on its head, and now it's happening to you, where some other character is doing the thing that you thought was good, but they're doing it to you, and you're the one who's in the bad situation, and you're like,
well, I mean,
Johnny,
you got to get yours, but they got to get theirs.
It makes you realize that way of thinking is psychopathic.
It's super convoluted.
Hold on. Yeah. So you're the protagonist of this game, but you're like, the way you succeed is to be a psycho.
Well, it's sort of, you are slightly your train of thought.
Yeah.
Right, and it's a very innocent. It's like a train of thought that you would normally do, and how you would kind of think is an okay response to something, but it presents an angle, a perspective of how that can be viewed in a very negative way, and it does it, and it catches you off guard, and it does other things too.
Plays devil's advocate for you, basically.
So if I'm talking to the cops in the game and they ask like, where do you work, and I'm like, okay, the bank, in the basement, in the boiler room, okay, and where were you last night between 5 and 7? In your mom, and then what did you have? What did you do while you were there? I ate her brains. And then, okay,
her brains are located in her.
Yeah, it's like, and then they're like, well, this guy didn't do it. We'll move on.
Not quite that. You would definitely. It's hard to explain, and to explain it would to give it away, and it's definitely worth experiencing, because it was this particular one of. There were a couple moments, but this one particular moment in the game, I'm not an emotional guy, but I almost cried a little bit because it reminded me of something that happened in my life.
It's like emotional. In the game, someone steals the character's tricycle, and Johnny kind of broke down.
It sort of took me down an emotional memory lane that almost got me a little teary-eyed. Okay. Almost a little bit.
Now, this didn't look like that type of emotional game to me from the stuff I saw online.
You say yours is a unique experience,
and that's intended. It's very intended to present itself as one thing, and and also to give you a little bit of information to make you think that it's something else, the psychological horror. And
it's a con.
And then
the show is all about cons.
It's really developed by Dustin Hoffman.
And then to give you something that is both of those, it gives you something that's both of those things, and then it gives you more. And all of it is wrapped in this very nice, exceptional writing. Both in character development and in dialogue.
All right, I'm surprised. I mean,
nice.
It looked like it was one very specific kind of game. I expected to throw curves, but you're saying this was a really, despite knowing that going in, because it tells you what it is, it was still shocking and still, like, it sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah.
I had a great time, actually. You've been recommending this before the show.
I definitely had a really good time. I did recommend it to a lot of people because it's only 5 hours long. I'm a slow reader too, so.
So to anyone else, it'd be like 20 minutes.
Not quite that, but probably like other people would probably be like 3 to 4 hours long. But for me, I took my time. I like to read things and fully understand things. This is also a game that you have to turn your brain on as you're reading it.
You're that guy that sits there for 45 minutes and reads the entire iTunes agreement, aren't you?
Somebody's got to, because I'm not reading that.
All right, so give me the verdict, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm taking a wild guess here.
Yeah, definite thumbs up. It's free. That's the big kicker. It's free. It's short.
Well, shit,
and
Negro.
It's really
That's
good.
all you had to say.
You need that sound bite on.
Put that on the board.
In the cast.
Yeah.
All right, so the game is called
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Rolls right off your tongue,
available on Steam and only on Steam.
Only on Steam. Available right now.
For
free $99.
It's free $99.
All right.
Boom.
Go ahead.
There we go.
Doki Doki. Get touched by women in a book club. So the literature is actually 50 Shades. Is that what you're talking about?
If you take a certain path in the storyline, you can kind of get towards that particular direction.
Really?
There's multiple branching story paths in this game.
Yeah, but no, okay, now on, that's the one you start with. That's how you start. Yes.
There is, one of these 4 girls, they're gonna like what you like. They're gonna be into what you're into.
I'm with it.
You just gotta pick
simple
the right
numbers
girl.
game.
All right. Going down. All right, so now, Adam, we talked a little about the girl with the dragon tattoo before the show and then the start of the show. And I love the books.
Which I haven't read.
You haven't read, but you have seen the movies.
Yes.
Not just the American movie, but also the original Swedish movies.
Yes. I saw the Swedish films, and I saw the American film as well. And I do enjoy the Swedish films better. I thought they were just more...
Yeah, I thought so too.
I felt they were truer to the books than the American one without having read them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, you know what I mean? I just
absolutely.
felt they were...
They felt like the American one was trying to go for a bit of a watered-down view for Western audiences, but the Swedish one captured, like, the raw.
Well, it's definitely that, but, like, it's definitely with the casting even, with Michael Nyqvist played Blomkvist.
I don't know.
Which is the Michael Nyqvist was the bad guy from John Wick.
The first one?
Yes.
The son or because the son
the guy with the slick back hair.
Yeah, okay, I'm about to say, okay.
He just died, by the way, this past year.
Oh, really?
At 56,
yeah. Never piss off John Wick, man. He'll get you one way or another.
Yeah,
what do you mean it was just a film?
He was also the bad guy in Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol as well.
Oh, the good one.
But he is being the protagonist, the journalist from this book series. It is so refreshing to see like the hero without like the hero's body. You know what I mean? Because in an American version, which they did,
good doughy hero.
Yeah, they put him as Daniel Craig, which Daniel Craig is James Bond. He's got this
Craig
kind of.
Craig is in impossibly good shape for no reason. It's
yes.
like before The Rock was The Rock. Everyone was crazy about Daniel Craig put on like so much muscle for James Bond, but he's cut and he's got this weird head, but the rest of him is magnifique. And
what's wrong with his head?
Daniel Craig has a goofy head, man.
You never looked at him close? He's a goofy looking guy.
Yeah,
but Michael Nyqvist,
it works when he was like really skinny. I like the guy that played.
Yes.
I've liked almost
it looked
everyone
like a journalist would look.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and it looked like that is your hero for the story. Like that, I can identify with that. You know what I mean? That looks like a So
when I read the book, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
We're talking about him. When I read the book, everything that Stieg Larsson, we're talking about the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, by the way. It was originally a book series adapted into a series of films, and right now we're talking about the latest release in graphic novel form.
Yes.
Released worldwide, and I think it presents more of a processable view, but it also has depictions of Mikhail Blomkvist.
Yes, and he seems kind of like in the Nyqvist type of way, where he's not like a ripped guy. He's got like a little bit of like a doughy center. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
not the most strikingly handsome person, but he's a very up and up.
Adam Willis says, yeah, he's kind of a gargoyle. You know, it's a tubby.
But you know, it's
loser,
like why do people respond to him? Because he's like he's got a clean record. He's a great guy, and he's doing good work. You know what I mean? He's doing the work.
I him as like a tubby, out of work looking Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gerard Butler.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to.
If he never did 300, so he never got like that level in shape. He just like let himself go.
You never saw him that way before.
Yeah, and he wore like Cosby sweaters all day.
Gotcha.
But without the Cosby connotation.
Yeah, but the story of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is Michael Blomkvist is this journalist. He's like the journalist basically, and he's what's the newspaper he works at?
He works for Millennium.
Millennium that he started, but it starts out with him just getting out of court for a verdict that found him guilty of basically botching his story and accusing somebody of embezzlement, which they were found clear of. So his whole credibility is now in tatters, basically.
Yeah, shot. When you're a journalist, that's like big news. And the fact that this is a book, this is a series, a story series that isn't about like, the action hero just came back from the war and now he's got to take revenge on. No, it's none of that. This is the journalist involved in like a legal battle, and that's where the stuff stems from. Like it's a different take, which is one of the things that really jibed with me.
And then when you are introduced to Elizabeth Salander, who is the girl with the dragon tattoo, she was hired to basically do a background check to find out his dirt, and she finds out he's remarkably clean. He's had an affair, but that's like out there. It's not like a big deal. And then through circumstance they start working together.
Yeah, it's a greatly put together story because it starts off as a simple story about a journalist who needs help and he's getting help through unexpected avenues, and then it just like the bullet train pulls out the station with like there's people being tortured, there's like monstrous hitmen, there's politics involving politicians pulling fast ones on orphans who are being used for like sex crimes. It goes like, and not even off the rails, like everything's really well constructed, but it goes like 0 to 60.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all in there, but I think the basic thing that attracts at least me to this story is the relation. Yeah,
Adam, you have
the relationship between Blomkvist and Lisbeth is because they're kind of like they're so good at what they do, and that's what brings them together because they're the best at research, the other at like
it's Wolverine working with Bret the Hitman Hart.
More or less, yeah. It's like tacticians, you know what I mean? It's people like doing work and kind of finding that connection through that research that they're doing, you know what I mean? And
I love the way they presented the relationship between them that develops in the story, and that's not a spoiler.
Strictly mental, you know what I mean? It's all a heady kind of relationship. I mean, they do have physical connection, but
they're both
that
people
stems
that are
from something
mentally
else.
In different places. Lisbeth, and her entire life, she's been abused. She doesn't trust anybody, especially not men. And her only healthy sexual relationship ever in life has been with this woman who's only around like 25% of the time. And whereas Mikhail is he's not a gigolo, but if you've known any poly people,
one of the first things
he's exactly
she points
that kind
out,
of guy. He's very unassuming. His body's just kind of like average, but on his own like charisma and his own sense of just, I'm living here.
One of the first things she points out when she's describing him too is like he has a very healthy sex life.
Yes,
That's
man
one of the first
gets
things she
down.
says.
He's throwing it left and right.
One of the biggest differences in terms of the movies.
I'm gonna say, and his biggest continue.
One of the biggest differences for the movies in terms of like the first Swedish movie and the American version is the way they show the sexual. The sex scene basically between Blomkvist and her in each film. They are so completely different. The Hollywood version is completely a Hollywood thing where it's this, this animalistic,
there's passion,
back and forth.
There's like clawing,
and,
there's clothes being thrown, there's
in the Swedish version, it's more her.
It's more how it actually was in the book.
Well, it's more her, like, taking control. I need this. I'm doing this. I'm getting something out of it. And he's just kind of like a bystander in the whole situation.
I need to get off. You're here. Come along for the ride, but just remember who's driving this.
But she's turned on by him in some other way, not just like she doesn't want to physically enjoy him. She's just doing it for a sole purpose. And I thought that was such a good way to show it. Because I don't know if it's like that in the book, but that was perfect. And I thought they must have ruined it in the American version.
In the American version, they really Americanized it. The thing about the Swedish version is everything I mentioned, it was raw. By that I meant like it's unpolished. They showed in the book, they describe like, yes, it's Sweden, but to me, Sweden means everyone's in like ice bars, and they're all like, blonde, beautiful people wearing, they're all have
6'2" and
in July they're wearing white fur coats, and in December they're wearing white fur coats,
and they're all skiing.
Yeah, they're skiing everywhere all the time. They're going to the grocery store skiing.
Cheekbones are just perfectly chiseled.
Yeah, and this presents it like there's different parts. They start off in the city. They go to the countryside, kind of the countryside, just a few miles out of the city. And then their locations are like shacks or like this meat factory. And it's all really real. It all looks unpolished, like you're actually watching someone's story. If the dialogue wasn't set, part of this could have actually been a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they describe Lisbeth is she's not this really sexualized, up version they gave us in the American version.
No.
Even though they did try to make her look a little sick and a little emaciated. This is someone who's been abused most of her life, lived a sedentary lifestyle. Not sedentary, lived a solitary lifestyle. And she has never really cared. She's a nihilist. She's very...
Which makes her very gifted. The solitary lifestyle that is required of somebody that does that deep research that forces you to be by yourself on the computer all the time, but also removing yourself from the subject that you're required to look up.
She doesn't care. She doesn't have those emotional attachments, so she's better at what she does. She's better at finding information, at installing worms into people's computers to get every like iota, nook and cranny.
In the Swedish version, it was Numi Rapace who who played her, and that was kind of the kickoff of her career too.
Well, the thing is, it starts off where she never trusts anyone, and when she starts thinking, okay, maybe I can trust someone, they always turn around on her, and even if it's not malicious, just to show you I can do this. So if I ever need to exert power on you, I can. Like, that's the relationship she's had, and that really comes across in the book, and they do a better job of presenting it in the Swedish movies than they did in the American. But I understand why. In the American, you really gotta polish things and present them to wide audiences, versus the Swedish one seemed more like an art film, so they were more real with it. Right. Now, in the terms of this graphic novel, because we're talking about it's a new company, and I'm trying to remember. I'm really struggling to remember the. Is that it?
I think so.
Titan Publishing.
I believe so.
All right. Well, Titan's the new comic label that's presenting this. It's the graphic novelization of the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo story, and I thought they were just doing like the first book, because each one is it's a long series, so each graphic novel is two different books combining the one. So in the end, I guess they'll do about 6.
Right. Says Millennium.
Millennium. No, Millennium is the title. The part of the title, because that's the name of the publishing company in the story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look for the blue spot. The red spot on top. Does it have it there? Is it something in a circle at the top right or top left of the screen?
It says no.
Country for Old Men. That's
number 1.
I'll find
number 1. All right, Adam's on the job. Basically, long story short, it's the original story in graphic novel form, and since it's a story that's known, we know, like backwards and forwards, we've seen all the movies. I love the crap out of the original book story, and then the Swedish one, especially because
widely popular too, like crazy popular.
Surprisingly, because I never heard anything about it before I read it.
Yeah,
I was coincidentally in like the right place in the right situation. I was working for a publishing company, and it was one of the books that was available to me to like actually test product on, and it looked really interesting. So I'm like, let me read this sucker. And the day I started reading it, I start seeing everyone on like the bus, on the train, in parks, just reading the book itself.
Titan Comics.
Yep. Okay, but it was Titan who?
Titan Comics.
Titan Comics, new company, and this is just a great book to come out the box with, or the very least, if they're not new, they're new to like the public eye. And this was really great. One thing I emphasized the story for was because we have to emphasize that. Since it's a known story, the art and the presentation is going to be one of the main things here. Are they making changes that are going to drastically affect the interpretation of the story? And I don't think so. I thought they did a phenomenal job of portraying the original story, not the really cookie cutter Hollywoodized version with and no disrespect to Daniel Craig. I love his work in Layer Cake.
Or even like who directed the American movie? It was
oh no, that Trent Reznor did the music. He didn't direct it.
But it's guy did 7.
Oh, Danny Elfman. No, I was trying to say Wes Anderson there. I honestly don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while, but it was someone big. I remember Trent Reznor did the music specifically, and that was the weirdest thing for me because
but he does the music for The Social Network. But who directed that?
Wasn't that his? Well, I mean, we'll find it. We'll give it a second there. But the presentation in this is, I think. Really, really above and beyond. It makes a very long story that can be hard to process and digest at sometimes more palatable, and it flows much quicker. Like reading through this book, at times after like 15 minutes, I realize where I was in the story, and I see how they're drawing certain characters. Oh, okay, I get it. That's not how I pictured so and so in my head. But I see where the influence is for coming. Like when he approaches the next door neighbor that he's apparently throwing the D to every few pages. The image of her in my head was always more along the lines of like River Song, But the way they portrayed her in the book, I'm like, I can definitely see this. This is an older woman who's still very attractive. Think more along the lines of like Jessica Walter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the mom from Archer.
But they don't try to lead you too much with the visual part of it, you know what I mean? It's still like about the story, you know what I mean, in words like that. It really just kind of accompanies the story, the dialogue, the words, the actual written part, you know what I mean? It doesn't try to like overdo it and overpower the actual story. So I think that's what is great about it, because this is really, really a good story, no matter how crazy it gets.
Totally.
It's definitely something that's there's a reason why it's this popular, and it catches your attention, you know what I mean? Right so there. I thought it was great.
I'm giving it an absolute thumbs up.
Adam?
Nice.
Yep. I'm right behind you. Yeah.
And one of the
I think this is actually the appropriate format for it too.
You know what?
You know what I mean? Visual and it's a great
that.
representation of this story. So I was all for it.
I can get behind it, man. Herb, have you been paying attention? Because this is your homework assignment.
Read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
No, you're gonna read all three of them.
All three books?
Yeah, that's right.
Comic books.
Yeah, Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. No comic for you, man. You've been bad. You got to read the whole. I want you to finish 1,010 pages by next week.
Yeah, rest in peace, Michael Nyqvist.
Yeah, I do. I didn't even know, man. Scheiße. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was a great book series. I do recommend anyone check it out if you're interested in the novels. If you're going to see the movies, definitely seek out the Swedish release films because they're subtitled, but the story is presented in a more organic way. And I think it does a disservice to church it up like they did for the American version, because as much as I like those actors, Rooney Mara played Elizabeth Salander in there.
David Fincher directed him.
Oh, damn it! I love David Fincher. How could I forget that? Damn it, Johnny. Why?
Yeah.
I blame you. All right. Well, it's a great story. We highly recommend the comics. Let's move on because The Shape of Water is Guillermo del Toro's.
I like his movie, but I think I've always said he's more overrated than I
thought you were a fan.
I am a fan, but people go crazy for stuff, and I like a lot of his work.
We've learned so much about Black Adam Willis in the last 30 seconds.
I like his work, but everyone's so head over heels gaga. I feel hyping it up, and sometimes it's just
I think that's Hollywood, okay. Man.
I agree. I think it's that too. But I liked Pacific Rim, but Pacific Rim.
Oh, Pacific
Pan's
Rim.
Labyrinth's fine.
No,
you know
Pacific
what I mean?
Rim knew what it was, and that's where I got my enjoyment.
Right, but how does he
giant
get this?
Robots, you're not looking for Shakespeare in the story.
Yeah,
you just want giant robots.
I don't know. He just
and kaiju.
And kaiju. Well, that's cool. That's kind of a given.
He just has this clout around him that I feel
can fight each other.
No, you have that's real steel. We don't talk about that. But no, I see what you're saying, man. And the thing is, people do have a tendency to look at things with rose-tinted glasses and forget the weird parts of movies that may not have taken off.
Or some of his films I just don't respond to. You know what I mean? And some I think he's really, really good at having original ideas, and the costume and the design of his movies are really, really.
Yeah, the visual
interesting,
design.
The visual stuff. But I wasn't a big Hellboy fan. I wasn't a big Hellboy 2 fan. You know what I mean? It's.
Oh, you're talking about the movies.
But Hellboy 2 was him. Hellboy 1 was someone else.
Okay.
No,
Hellboy 2 was.
It wasn't.
No, you're talking about Blade.
Blade
2 was him. Blade 1 wasn't.
Okay.
Hellboy was all him. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Did he do Blade 3? Blade Trinity?
No.
Okay. Whew. All right,
the one thing
I that's the hard question.
We've talked about it here, and I will say this: I one of the biggest what could have been projects that I think is still out there that may never come to fruition is
Guillermo del Toro's Pootie Tang. I know, man. You got to let it go.
At the Mountains of Madness is a $250 million epic Guillermo del Toro movie that could have starred Tom Cruise about who's the author it's based on, but it's a classic horror story about people that go out into the Arctic, and they're in this expedition. They find this hidden craziness underneath the ice.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about that Everest thing.
And it's a classic horror tale, but he had this whole idea and storyboarded and everything, and they turned it down because he wanted it rated R.
Damn.
And they said we could fund you if it was PG-13, and he turned it down because that wouldn't be his vision.
You hear that, people?
And it's the biggest
Guillermo
what
del Toro
if
could
for
have
me.
done What We Do in the Shadows. Would have been great.
Imagine.
If anyone has seen that movie, you know why. That's funny.
Oh, it's funny.
No, I thought you were talking about that. They did it was a documentary, not a movie, about the people who try to climb Everest and die, and how Mount Everest is just a collection of dead bodies of people that failed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're just still up there.
Yes.
Because they're frozen.
Who's going up there to get them?
Exactly.
I'm not going.
You got to climb it.
Yeah, and the last guy released the most recent one. The most recent
That's
story
more than a flight of stairs. You know?
Is there was a group that had trouble going up, and a Sherpa had gone up to try to rescue this group, and they just called them Green Shoes or Green Boots. Because he had these bright green boots. There was no other identification on him, and no one knew who he was. But he had gone up to try to rescue a group that was lost, and he couldn't make it to them. A guy who, this is what he did. So he was an experienced climber, and he still couldn't make it. A group that was on a different expedition and was having trouble themselves and was coming down and really in bad shape, desperate just to get off this mountain, came across him. and they're like low on supplies, they're low on strength and energy, and they are making a decision whether or not we take this guy with us and risk not making it. Do we leave him? And they just left him. And the thing is, he was still alive, and he ended up dying. Like, he will go up now, and they can find the remains of green shoes. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up if it's boots or shoes. But I thought that's what you're talking about, and I would imagine Guillermo del Toro tackling something like that.
Yeah, at the Mountains of Madness. I mean, it's H.P. Lovecraft's story, if I'm not mistaken. But it's one of those classic horror stories. And yeah, he had this whole pitch and the whole thing ready. You know what I mean? I think Del Toro's more known for the projects he hasn't done as much as the ones he has. So I always hear him attached to all these things that could have been great, these huge budgets and these huge stories.
Yeah,
and it's like, it hasn't worked out. This thing backed out, that thing backed out.
Del Toro's Fast and the Furious Redux.
But you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's so many stories of that where, like, specifically him attached to these stories where they haven't really worked out. That's the one that really got me. But
I like when they have working on sci-fi and fantasy type things, comic stories specifically. And we're talking about Guillermo del Toro. His latest movie is called The Shape of Water, and it's the story that's about this woman who works in it's set in the 1960s, the period piece, and it's set in an old lab, but we never really know what they do there, because the woman that the story focuses on is on the cleaning crew. Simple woman, she has her life. She's also a mute. That's an important factor of the story. But she goes about her life day in, day out, and we meet her coworkers, we meet her neighbor, we find out her standard routine, and it has all the earmarks of a Guillermo del Toro movie. It's very stylized. I do like the hue they have over the movie. It was almost like Dark City. Which
is a movie I've been talking a lot about today for some reason.
Today specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, is it like an anniversary?
No, somebody got a bootleg copy of it and asked if I ever saw it. I was like, I have a
bootleg.
Yeah, and I said I didn't do it. And I said I got the DVD copy. Let me borrow it. I'll let you borrow it. But it's weird, today.
All right, well, this one had all the earmarks of a Guillermo del Toro movie, including when it got down to the practical effects and prosthetics on people, which I thought was great.
Which he has a hand in as well on all of them.
Yeah, no, he's very good at all those. Also, rampant masturbation and sex scenes, just there, and not that got her attention.
For the Louis C.K. movie? Sorry.
Wow.
Waiting 2 weeks for that one.
But no, nothing's like sensationalized. It's just, this is how the story goes on. This woman gets up, she makes breakfast, she times stuff out, she helps her neighbor prepare a sandwich for him. She gets ready for work, she masturbates on the way out. And then, she's on the bus, and then she goes to work and has friends and stuff. And, it's like, everything is very matter of fact, but I liked it because it's a little more real that way.
Yeah.
This wasn't like,
this is what you actually do in your day. You don't just sit there and read the newspaper. You actually just jerk off and go to work. Lights all these candles that came out of nowhere. It's a bathroom, yet she's fires the choice of lighting and stuff. And eventually, she gets a look of the latest lab secret project that she's not supposed to. When a new security guy takes the job of the previous guy who's gone missing for some reason, and he's very in your face. He's very imposing. This is Michael Shannon too, right?
This is Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon in this movie doing a great job as one of the villains. He's the main villain, but no one's really like the supervillain type. It's just a bunch of bad people working together to accomplish a goal. But it's not like G.I. Joe versus Cobra.
Right.
This is just like that organization is shady.
This seemed to me a lot like Pan's Labyrinth in the way that's like a very innocent character that's just so like clearly like the face of innocence versus the face of like fascist, this overruling thing, you know what I mean? It's just obviously evil thing, but like with real consequences too, like not like comic booky consequences. This is like real dangerous, in your face, scary type of stuff.
Absolutely. And one thing that really struck out about this story is there's no point where at some point she becomes this big conquering heroine who's taking on the man, and she's taking on the role of an action star or like a big gung-ho leader. The entire time she's still the same character. She's still Liza, a simple maid who sees something wrong and tries to do something about it in her in whatever she can do, acknowledging that she's not going to go and take on all these guys herself, but she's going to use what little resources she has available. And it really worked that way because it kept things within due bounds, and you can it allows you to accept all the other things that happen in this movie that are kind of ridiculous.
Right.
You know, Michael Shannon is a guy who goes home to like a classic 60s idealized house.
Very repressed, kind of.
Yeah, he's got his very obedient wife. His son, who's really gung ho about his job in America. He's getting a new Cadillac. He goes, and then he goes to the lab, and it's just this evil SOB. You know, he's walking around with a cattle prod, you know, just intimidating the workers, intimidating the help. And then he goes into this lab where they close the door and you hear screams. And then he walks out like covered in blood. I'm like, this is crazy. This is nuts. And then we get to the real meat of the story where Sally Hawkins is the star of this. She plays Eliza Esposito. She's not deaf, she's just mute, so she communicates in sign language, and she hears all this weird stuff going on, and then an incident happens where they leave the door open, so she's got to find out what's going on. You know, is there danger here? Should she break out? And she ends up seeing what they're storing in this lab, and this isn't a spoiler because I'm doing the John Leguizamo thing now. This isn't a spoiler because it's all over the advertising. It's all in the trailer and the commercials. They're keeping this like fish man creature. He's kind of like a creature from the Black Lagoon type.
Yeah,
type
that's exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. And this, when this image first appeared in the media, folks were saying, "Hey, is this that possible Abe Sapien prequel movie that everyone was clamoring for?" Abe Sapien being the fish guy from the Hellboy movies, the Hellboy series.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, or at least as far
But
as
it's
we know,
played by the
not.
same actor.
Well, then that would be Twisted.
It is, though.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Mm.
Probably, I'm hoping for body type. Because in this movie,
the guy that played
he ate
this
scrambled
guy.
eggs, he bit people, and he slung dick left and right. That's what was going on in The Shape of Water. The Shape of Water, if you ever wanted to get licensed for that
I didn't see that coming.
fantasy, oh yeah, it was like, I love it because it's this very sweet story about Eliza. At the same time, this very like
she's
creepy story
masturbating before she goes to work. She finds some sexual enhanced creature,
like you do.
Like you
but
do.
It's a sweet story about her just living her life. She got a very like cordial relationship with her neighbor who's her good friend, and just a gay guy in the 60s. So the struggles he's going with, and being also an aged fella who's got a crush on the guy at the local soda shop. You know, it's very cute. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
And then you go to Michael Shannon, who's walking around and just like
covered in blood and like
people
cattle.
and making threats to employees that he doesn't know are reporting all his stuff back to the KGB because there's Russian spies everywhere. It's the 60s, man. They're all over the place.
They were.
It's wild because all this exists in this weird duality that works. It all flows together, which you wouldn't expect it to. You know, the only other time I've seen a movie work this well, covering all these things, is Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Fifth Dimension.
Great.
And I have to applaud.
that's a great endorsement right there.
I got to applaud Del Toro for taking this subject matter.
It's Big Booty!
Sorry. But taking subject matter that could be really out there, really whacked out and hard to believe, and just it seems like something that would take you out of the experience. Nah, man, I was just there, like enjoying the story. The acting was enthralling. Michael Shannon, I can't emphasize how much I love him as the bad guy.
Yes.
Because he's got that face where it's just like, even when he's trying to be nice.
It's the intensity, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, God, that guy is
like,
so good.
This is a delicious sandwich. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he does intense well. Like, he goes to a level that most actors can't. Yeah. He's really, 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 really good.
Like, you did a great job on my dry cleaning. Keep the change. You know,
but yeah, he can read simple lines, you know what I mean? That you were like, you draw some other meaning out of it where other people couldn't. You know what I mean?
What you're saying is he's evil. I know. He looks it.
Not just evil, like you know what I mean? He exudes whatever he wants to. That's what's great.
He didn't say that.
It's simple stuff.
Yeah, but it plays well. Like, this was great casting. Eliza, I've never seen her before. I'm pretty sure she's done other stuff, though. Her performance was great. And then there's like 3 or 4 nude scenes that come out of nowhere. They're not like jarring. They're just like, okay, I expected this to kind of cut off. It's a sweet movie. They're not going to show you a boob. Oh, there's a boob. Okay, I guess it's an Archie movie. Oh, there's her ass. Solid. Yes. And her ass was solid. I just have to emphasize that as a cishet male. You know, in America today, these are things that people want to know. I wanted to know. I saw. I was very satisfied. And I'm sorry. I'm blanking on the name, but I got the list pulled up here real quick. Octavia Spencer Very, very, very highly regarded actress now because of performances in movies last year, including Hidden Figures.
Mm.
Yeah, and
The Help.
The Help.
she in that?
Oh, yeah, she was in The Help. I don't remember if she was the one that did the pie business.
If she helped, yeah.
The one she helped. No, just get a great performance in this. Played a great supporting actress role where it's like you believe her as the friend who's kind of put upon. But she's there for her girl. Like, Eliza comes late to work. She's the one that's punching her in. She is down.
Mm.
So when you see her home life and she's kind of like repressed, but she's in a loving relationship, and then she doesn't really see. She's kind of blind to how toxic that is.
Yeah.
It's real. It's like this is a movie that has like fantasy elements, a lot of sci-fi elements, and elements of like an escape movie.
Well,
Elements
I like
of like
that
a Schindler's
where
List
he
type
does
movie of confinement, contraption.
He
and
does that well. I'll
desperation.
say that of Del Toro. He places those elements, those sci-fi, those fantasy things, but it's in real danger. There's real consequences. There's real evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's reflexive
a real woman
of a
getting
society.
down with a real fish, and
Yeah,
it's
but
like
it's a society that reflects real stuff that's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like this mirror. You know what I mean?
But they still managed to show it in this like 1960s plastic fantastic show, display of everything's perfect in America because we're fighting communism every day.
Right. But there's a lot of stuff underneath the surface.
Yeah, yeah. It also takes place in '62, so Martin Luther King was around there, gonna represent and liberate that lab if everything hadn't gone to hell because they're kidnapping fish people. I gotta give this a thumbs up. I enjoyed the crap out of this. I thought, it's gonna be a nice artsy movie. Maybe I'll have a good time. It doesn't look too terrible. Guillermo del Toro does good stuff. It'll be a nice artsy movie that I'll see once and forget about in 2 weeks. Nah, baby. This was just like it starts off sweet, and then like a fish man sticks it in. So it was just like it was.
I can't believe there's much fish sex going on.
It is. It's on the poster, and you don't realize it because it looks like this.
But yeah, but you think it's like a romance, not just like
exactly.
getting the boogie. You
No,
know?
that picture is from like the first scene.
She has so much sex in this. They should have had her picture on the poster horizontal.
Dude, she does. And that's the thing. It's like they emphasize.
She's been picked up so many times. She should have handles.
They emphasize at the beginning like her regular routine is masturbation. So she's not, and it's because she's not getting any. And then once that fish thing like enters the picture, you can visibly see the thirst.
And you see
just,
him
like
he's like, she's a clinger.
Man,
take me away. Yeah, cattle prod me.
She is hungry. All right, so that was The Shape of Water. It's playing right now in theaters. It's directed by Guillermo del Toro, Michael Shannon, Sally Hawkins, Octavia Spencer, and I do want to call out they did try to have a a quick civil rights like side story, which is the only thing I think didn't work too well.
Yeah, you can't really do that quickly, can you?
No, you can't. And the thing is, the first scene you see it, it's like really powerful. Like, wow, that was messed up.
Like, yeah, black people have it tough too. And back to the fish guy.
Yeah, and I think like that this is the turn it's going to take, another element, and it never really comes back.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of bugged me because everything else about this I thought was almost perfect, was damn near perfect. And then that, like, it was an honorable like thing they tried to do, but the fact that it had like a quick hit and then a quick resolution, too quick for that heavy a subject to be introduced.
Fair enough.
So that's like the one thing. But besides that, I mean, I can't recommend this enough. Thumbs up all the way. It's called The Shape of Water, directed by Guillermo del Toro. Richard Jenkins is the guy who plays the neighbor. You might remember him as
he's in a lot of Step Brothers. He's the dad.
Mm-hmm.
He's in The Visitor.
And was he in Cabin in the Woods? He was in Cabin in the Woods, right?
He was, yes.
Yes, Cabin in the Woods is one of the main two
guys in the
control center guys. Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the show. I think we may have gone a couple minutes over, so my bad. Just so deeply enthralled in the fish sex. So this has been the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. I want to thank you all for joining us. This has been another awesome show that you've been listening to on WEMFradio.com, or hopefully you've been watching us and seeing our smiling faces and Adam just over there scowling at you. Look at him, just hating. Like, I drink a beer, it was delicious. Like just a Michael Shannon protege.
That's a big bottle.
All right. Yep. On twitch.tv/thegeekdown, you can catch us every Monday night right there. And also, hopefully you're following us on Twitter and on Facebook. You can check us out there. Just type in The Geek Down. Also, search us on iTunes. Look for us on YouTube and on SoundCloud. We are all over the sucker. Our pretty pictures are all over Instagram. And all that information is available in the About section of the site, geek-down.com. If you heard anything on the show you want to chime in on and you didn't get a chance to jump into the Twitch stream, you can hit us up at geekdownradio@gmail.com. But until then, I want to thank Just Johnny.
Yo.
I want to thank DJ Herbie Herb.
Yeah.
Black Animal is my man.
Yep.
I want to thank you, fine people, and we will catch you all next time. Peace.
Hey.